Anxiety. Millions of people in the US alone struggle and suffer from anxiety every single day. If you're watching this video, you're probably one of them. Whether it's something new that's come up in your life or it's been something you've been struggling with for a long time, you're probably feeling, am I going to be stuck like this forever, or am I ever going to be able to get better? Am I ever going to get my life back to where it was before this happened to me? And the answer is yes. Hi, I'm Pazzy. I'm an artist and I'm just a regular girl who had a bout of severe anxiety for a period of time. The reason why I say used to is because I now consider myself recovered. So in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you my story and the steps I took to recovery, and then I'm going to be sharing some resources at the end that played a huge part in my recovery. So stay tuned because it's some really valuable information that I wish I had sooner. So let's rewind a little bit. I'm 30 years old, but my story starts at the very beginning when I was just a little girl. And I was always on the shy side. I was always on the nervous side. I was awkward. I was afraid to speak up. I was afraid to speak my mind. And that progressed over time. So in my teen years, middle school, high school, it just sort of developed more and more over time. And then fast forward out of high school, I'm an adult now, and it's getting even worse. It started changing from something that was mostly like a mental thing, just like worrying about things, mainly like social anxiety, but it started developing into something that became much more physical, and that is when it got debilitating for me. So here's the story of the very first panic attack I ever had. I went out to lunch with an ex-boyfriend, no longer together, glad it's over. But we went out to lunch with his parents, and it was kind of a busy restaurant, and the booths were like really small, kind of intimate, so you're sitting like very closely with people, and we're just sitting there having lunch, and I can start to feel like it's coming to an end, right? It's about time to like say goodbye, get ready to go. And his stepdad just kind of kept talking. And it was kind of like a back and forth where, okay, I guess we're gonna start getting ready to head out. And then his stepdad would continue the conversation on, making it kind of feel like a push and pull kind of situation. That caused me to start feeling this trapped feeling. And not only that, but he was talking like so low that you really had to like lean in to try and hear what he was saying. And with all the commotion going on around in the restaurant, it made me so overstimulated. So I couldn't take it anymore. I felt my vision was going blurry. I felt my head kind of like getting wobbly, like I was losing control of my body. And I couldn't take it anymore, to the point where I had to excuse myself. I got up out of the booth and I rushed to the restroom. I felt my heart pounding. I felt like something was really seriously physically wrong with me. There was women in the bathroom and I wanted to tell them so bad, please help me, I don't know what's wrong, something's wrong with me. But I didn't do that. I just went into the stall and I just sat down. I literally had to sit there and just catch my breath and come back to reality for a minute. I didn't even really understand anything about panic attacks at the time, so I had no idea what was happening to me. I thought I was having a medical emergency, and it was just so uncomfortable. Thankfully, it came to an end kind of, and we were able to leave the restaurant. But for the next 2 weeks, I felt completely off. I felt completely oversensitive to everything. Like my body did not immediately go back to normal. I felt nervous and on edge for the next 2 weeks after that panic attack. But after a few weeks, I managed to get settled back into some kind of normalcy, and I kind of just pushed it under the rug and didn't think about it again. But now, fast forward a few years later, and it came back even heavier than before. I went through a lot of major life changes, all in a very short amount of time. I lost my grandmother, I quit my job of 10 years, I moved across the country into a new relationship, started a new job, became a step parent. It was just a lot of major life changes that happened so close together that I didn't have any time to process or react or get used to things. So I'm settled into my new home, I'm getting used to my new job, and the physical symptoms started coming back so strong. It would be so hard to get through a single day of work without feeling like I was about to lose control of my body or go crazy or something. I would be at work and every single day my vision would be blurry. I would have headaches. I would feel so dizzy to the point where I was having to like hold myself up on the counters, and I was feeling nauseous. I was having stomach issues. I was sweating. I was just shaking all the time. People would come up and talk. I could barely stand there in a conversation with someone without feeling like I was about to pass out, just because just a simple conversation with someone was so overstimulating. Everything was so overstimulating. Sounds, loud noises would make my heart feel like it was jumping out of my chest. Even visually, like if I was looking at something that was kind of like you know, there was like a lot of things. It's so weird to explain. Like a lot of the same item in a row, like looking at it was just so visually overstimulating that I would have to walk away and not look at it. And it started getting into my home life too. I would come home and I couldn't even watch TV normally because it was just so overstimulating that I would have to leave the volume on the lowest volume. And then the part that was really hard to go through was even when my man, he would like hug me, I would feel trapped in his arms. It has nothing to do with him. It was just me. I couldn't even let him hug me without feeling like I was actually physically suffocating. And I suffered like this day after day after day. I tried so many different things to try and fix what was happening to me. I was listening to meditations. I was having a lot of quiet time. I was trying to keep myself from getting overstimulated. I went to the doctor. I was on medication, and this stuff kind of helped, but it did not take my anxiety away. And all of this was kind of more like a blanket that would relax me for the moment, but it was not actually improving my life or my well-being whatsoever. My primary focus every single day became my anxiety, and every single day it was just like, how am I going to get through today? How am I going to handle this when it happens? Because I started anticipating that I was going to have anxiety. I was going to have physical symptoms, and it just became a never-ending cycle of misery and doom. I couldn't do my art, I couldn't go anywhere, I couldn't socialize, I just had no quality of life. So one day I'm scrolling through YouTube, right? I'm watching random videos and my algorithm was suggesting me videos about anxiety and mental health, and I had already watched a bunch of videos about anxiety, but it was always the same thing. It was always, oh, this meditation, this hypnosis hack, this new medication that you should try. And it was all the same, and I never really found any information that spoke to me or resonated with me or had any actual value that would solve the problem instead of just covering it up, until I came across a different type of video and some videos that actually had real information that I hadn't heard before. And I felt like it was so hard to come across this information. So this is the best information that I've come across, and now I want to share it so that more people know and they could stop doing all this stuff to try and cover up their anxiety and fix it. And I learned something so valuable, and my journey to recovery started happening. I'm going to share with you everything that I learned, so buckle up. So this first piece of information that I'm about to tell you is what changed the trajectory of my recovery, like immediately. What I learned was to stop treating your anxiety like it's something you need to fix. Stop treating it like it's something that's wrong with you. And also stop treating it like it's something that you need to run away from. So what does this mean to stop running from it, stop treating it like a problem? When most people have symptoms of anxiety, your first reaction is to get away from whatever is triggering you in the moment, right? So that means avoidance. And unfortunately, when you avoid something, you are training your brain that there is actually something dangerous and unsafe that you need to get away from, like standing and having a conversation with someone. When you start to feel uncomfortable and you excuse yourself and you got to get out of that conversation immediately, you are reinforcing your brain that that actually was a dangerous situation, and you did the right thing by getting out of it. It's the fight or flight response that your body is conjuring up within you. Those are where the symptoms come from, the fight or flight response. So how do you stop falling into the cycle of avoidance? Well, this is where the hard work comes in. So when you get the symptom, when you get that uncomfortable sensation, you just do nothing. You just stand there and you let it be there. And you're going to do that over and over and over again. I would treat my feeling as like a separate entity. So if I was standing there having a conversation with someone, which was really hard for me to do back then, it was one of my biggest triggers, was standing face to face, having a conversation, and I would start feeling these physical symptoms, so I would cut the conversation short. But now I started doing something else, which was, okay, I'm starting to feel these sensations, and in my mind I would be like, okay, my body is trying to tell me that I'm in a dangerous situation right now, but I know that this isn't a dangerous situation. So I'm just going to choose to stand here in this conversation anyways, and my anxiety can just do whatever it wants, but I'm not going to listen to it. I'm not going to let it trick me. Because that's what your anxiety is trying to do. It is trying to trick you and make you believe that there is actually something wrong, that there is actual danger when there's actually no danger. Basically, you just want to get comfortable with being uncomfortable, and you just want to practice every single day. So I started getting excited every day, like, okay, I'm usually anxious in this situation, but now that I've learned this kind of like mindset thing, I'm going to apply it and see what happens. Another example is I would get extremely nervous waiting in lines at stores and stuff. If I need to wait in line to pay for something, like at the pet store, I would have this big bag of dog food and I would be standing in line and I would tremble, and everything in me just wanted to set the bag of food down and get the heck out of there, because I just knew everyone can see me trembling. Everyone can see that I'm like kind of fidgeting. I'm moving around a lot because I'm so extremely uncomfortable, because again, that trapped feeling, I feel trapped having to wait in this line and waiting for the person in front of me to be done. It was just so much anticipation, and it was just something that I wanted to escape so bad. And your body tries to convince you, yes, you need to escape, you need to get out of here right now. But you just acknowledge it. You're like, okay, my body is telling me something. My body is telling me one thing. I'm feeling all these physical sensations, but all I'm doing is standing in line and paying for a bag of food. The more and more you can get through these situations, practice in your everyday life. You could just take little baby steps. You don't have to do anything outlandish, but the more that you do it, the more confident you will become. And what started happening for me was that my symptoms started lightening up. So the next thing you can do, that is probably the best thing that you can do, is to purposely put yourself in situations that make you nervous. So if I know that standing in line at a store makes me nervous, guess what? I'm going to get in my car, I'm going to drive to that store, even if I'm not going to buy anything, or, just buy something inexpensive just so you could practice with the experience. And you're going to go and you're going to stand in line. And you're going to let your anxiety be there. You're going to taunt your anxiety. You're going to be like, okay, let's see what you got. And you just let it be there. You don't try to fight it. You don't try to avoid it. You don't look at it as a problem. It's just something that's there, something that you're dealing with, and it's not something that is going to actually destroy you. You are going to do this over and over again, okay? So you're going to purposely put yourself in situations that make you nervous. So I would purposely start conversations with people. I would purposely go with Jacob somewhere where I was having a really hard time leaving the house. I would have a really hard time sitting in the car. So even though I knew that it was something that would trigger me, I would go ahead and do it anyways, just to literally practice. And I was getting excited because I started feeling the changes happening. I started feeling my panic and my anxiety started getting less and less, because I was retraining my brain. I was rewiring my brain that it was misfiring. It was giving the wrong signals. It was entering the fight or flight mode when I was not actually in danger, and my body started matching up with my brain. Within a few months, I started feeling like my old self again. I was doing my art again. I was able to, socialize with people. I was able to get through a day of work without like having a freak out. I was able to watch TV on a normal volume. I was getting myself back. I was not constantly overstimulated by everything. And it is just so amazing because I really thought I was going to be stuck like that forever. And now I want to share all this information with you so that if you're struggling with the same thing, this is exactly what helped me. No meditation, no hypnosis, no pills, literally just mindset and learning how to retrain your brain and learning about how anxiety is like why anxiety causes all these physical sensations and symptoms. And there are two YouTube channels in particular that I want to share with you because they are where I got all of this information. So the first YouTuber is Sean Kassam, and on his channel he really dives into like the symptoms and here's why anxiety makes you feel dizzy. Here is why anxiety is causing your stomach to churn and feel nauseous all the time. So it really goes into like the mechanics of anxiety, and when you have more of an understanding of why your body is reacting the way it is, it provides so much more comfort. And he's just a really great guy, really great channel to learn some stuff about anxiety. And then the second channel I recommend is called The Anxious Truth Podcast. So he's another YouTuber podcaster, and he's pretty much complete opposite of Sean because he's more of like a no-nonsense kind of approach. He doesn't sugarcoat anything, and he kind of just goes, he's more on like the mindset, and he doesn't like babysit people. He's not like gentle therapist type. He's a very no-nonsense, like, here it is all out on the table, here it is all laid out. We need to stop letting ourselves be this way. And so when I combined those two YouTubers together, it was kind of like the perfect mix, and binged all their videos and applied what I learned from their videos. And now I'm here and I'm so happy now. I still have moments. I still have anxious moments all the time, but I'm nowhere near as bad as I was. And just because I have an off day or an off moment, or maybe even I feel like a panic attack is about to happen, or maybe even if I have another panic attack one day, it doesn't mean that I've lost progress. It doesn't mean I'm taking a step back. And you shouldn't look at it like that either. I hope all this information was super useful for you. I really believe in you, and if you're struggling, suffering, there is ways out. Recovery is different for everyone. It might be slow for some people, and for me it took a couple of months, but I really hope this was valuable to you, and thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next one.